This is the top of the well, and these are my lines coming out that go over to the incoming power and then the low water sensor in this black wire here. I have some fittings, which I hope I brought with me, and I don't think I did. Yes, they're right there. These wires are a bit long, and I'm going to cut them down a little bit, but not very much in case I ever have to splice into them. So I'm going to cut them about right here. This will get me well outside of the well and give me some space if for some reason I ever need to re-splice these. This black wire I experimented with last night, and it is very tough to get the insulation off. You need to remove a minimum of 1.5 inches to 1 3/4 inch in order to put the waterproof connector fitting on here and be able to get it in and still have some room to work. You want to take the copper wire back about 1/4 inch. It says 3 to 5 millimeters, and this one right here would be the same thing. I'm going to go back 2 inches on the insulation on this, and then I'll strip the insulation. And there's 3 wires. The scheme of the hookup is critically important as to the rotation, because if it spins backwards it will unscrew the pump, and then you're going to have to pull everything. Let me show you what downhole looks like. There's downhole right there. You can see the, come on baby, good dog, good dog. You can see the pitless adapter, and it slides right out with the little black wire coming out, and then the other one's to the side. So that's what it looks downhole. Now, I'm not going to show stripping the insulation off, because that's going to just take a while to do, especially with the black wire. But I'll come back to it as soon as I get ready to actually hook the pieces up. These connectors are available on Amazon. Just type in waterproof connectors and it'll pull these things up. This heat shrink is from Temu. You may have seen it. They'll actually send you what you want. They're not a scam place. And this heat shrink is really pretty good. Alright, let's make sure that we have the correct length. We have 2 1/4 inches on this, so we're good. We have right at 2 inches on this, so we're good. Now, these fittings have fins up and a locking piece for this, and I've written down on here, this is going to be the needle, and the fin is up and the bottom bump is down. The fins are the pieces that I'm going to fold over, and there's a bump on this thing. It comes with these waterproof connectors that you slide over the wires, which we're going to do in just a minute. And I have not had any success getting these into the connectors once they're done, so I'm going to use silicone instead. You have 2 connectors. You have one that has an orange piece. See the little wing up here? There's my wing, so I know which one. And this is the square tubing instead of the needle. The fin is up, but the box fin is down, is up. So these will fit together like this. This makes my watertight fitting. And these right here, these yellow things, pop inside. And these other pieces are the pins. So let's pull the pins out. Let's get these out and see if they fit over the wire very well. And they really don't. These are supposed to be for larger wire, but these things are way too small. We have this heat shrink, And the heat shrink comes in several different sizes. We will put a couple of pieces of heat shrink onto here if it will fit. May need to go get a larger heat shrink. I do have some larger stuff. And this is not going to work. I'm going to have to get the bigger pieces. So we will come back to this in just a moment and we'll put it together. Alright, we're back. We're putting some heat shrink onto here. We're going to put some smaller heat shrink on this. And we need to clip these. About 1/4 of an inch in length. There we go. Now we're ready to put the fins on there, the fins and the squares. One side will have squares and one side will have fins. Or actually it's a needle. Once I get this in place, I bend the fin down. It's a bit difficult to hold. This shake in my hands doesn't help. Bring this other one down. And then squeeze these into place. I know you're not going to be able to see it, but there's an itty bitty little bump here, and that's that bump that either goes up or down. Okay? So now we do this 2 more times for this, and then we put the heat shrink on it to slide this forward, and then the next thing that we do is we put these connectors into place. We decide which one it needs to be for either the square or the needle. These are needles. So I'm going to do that off camera.